So I'm graphing this piecewise function, and it has three pieces. 1, 2, 3. I look at the domain restrictions, and we get lucky because I see some repeating numbers here. I see 0, so x equals 0. This is not an asymptote. It's kind of like a boundary line that helps me give a visual of where I'll draw the open and closed circles. I see a 2 here, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a line at x equals 2. And let's go ahead and graph the first piece. The first piece says h of x equals x over 3. So the fraction might be intimidating to you. If you add a coefficient or number in front, it's just 1. And if you add a constant behind it, that'll be plus 0. So for your mx plus b, this would be a slope of 1/3. Rise of 1, run of 3. And then your slope would be 0. I'm sorry, your y-intercept would be 0. So I'm going to graph this with the pencil so I can erase it. I have here at 0, and I'm going to go up 1, right 3. Remember, if you ever have to go the other direction, you can also use -1 over -3, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So that would be -1 would be rise of -1, so down 1, left 3. Use your straight edge to draw a line. If you don't have graph paper, it is very important that you can use your help you be accurate if you're drawing accurate tick marks. Let's do this one in green. So at my graph now, I'm going to go to the yellow line where it's x equals 0. Class, is this an open or closed circle? It says less than or equals to, so that's going to be closed. Am I going to go to the left or to the right? Numbers that are smaller than or equals to 0. Numbers that are smaller than 0 are -1, -5. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this way. And then I'm going to go back now and erase what I just drew. Let's graph the next one, 2x minus 6. So I'm going to go down to -6 as my y-intercept. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have a slope of +2, so 2 over 1. Rise of 2, run of 1. Rise of 2, run of 1. Go ahead and draw my line. Okay, pay attention here. At x is 0. Open or closed? So let's draw one. And at 2, I'm going to have what? Open as well. I'm going to draw this graph between 0 and 2. So I'm going to keep this part and erase the right and the left. And then just go back and erase. Investment in a good eraser is worth it. And the last one, h of x is 1 if x is greater than 2. Remember we talked about h of x equals 1? You could think of that as f of x equals 1, or something simpler, y equals 1, and make a table of values. It's a constant. Make up your x values when you graph that. 0, 1. 0, 1, right 1, up 1, right 2, up 1. So anytime you just have a number there, it's a constant, it's going to be a horizontal line. And x is 2, is it going to be closed or open? And which direction am I going? Go back and erase. So here's a couple of tips. In each part of the colors of our boundaries, there should be not 2 graphs. Do you see that? There might be some open and closed circles, but you should only see 1 graph per each. Alright, so let's go ahead and graph this one. I'm going to turn it on. Double check with your calculators that you press second y equals, and you want to make sure that your stat plots are off. I've seen that errors today. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to press y equals. Go ahead and clear out what you have. And notice if you type something today, for example, if I just type in 9, do you see the equal sign gets darkened? That's what it's going to graph. Okay, so our piecewise function we just graphed had 3 of them. Okay, so let's put that into our calculators. Everyone say parentheses. Start with the parentheses. So we had x divided by 3. Close the parentheses. Everyone say divide. I'm not going to tell you the math part about it. I just want you to be able to get a visual right now. And then in the parentheses, I'm going to type in x. This is a new part for you now. You're going to use the word test. What word, class? So second math. Second math. Now you're going to put in the inequality. So we had less than or equal to. So I went that one. And then it said 0. Close the parentheses. When I go down, so now I'm going to type in the second one. Parentheses 2x minus, or take away, not negative, 6. Close the parentheses. Divided by parentheses. Okay. 0 less than x less than 2 is a compound inequality. So if I take apart the compound inequality, it reads x is greater than 0 and x is less than 2. Okay? So the calculator means you have to break it apart on the compound inequality. So x greater than, so second math, number 3, 0, and I need the word and. So this is going to be a new one. Everyone say second math. That was horrible. Say it, class. You're on the video, come on. And then you go over to logic. And you have the word and. I also need x is less than 2. So x, second, math, less than is number 5 and 2. Close your parentheses. I press enter, it goes down to the third one, and all I have to do for that one is put in parentheses 1 divided by parentheses x greater than or equals to 2. I'm going to press zoom 6. Da, 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 da. All 3 parts of my piecewise function. Now, just to give you an idea, you can also graph those separately, right? Go over the equal sign, unhighlight it, and it'll graph each part separately. Does that make sense? So at least it gives you a visual how to get a piecewise function.